Well, hello folks yet again, and it's another Sunday and we're here to have some fun. And by fun, I do in fact mean very serious business. Yes, because today we're going to be giving a critical reevaluation, a very critical, objective, scientific, 100% accurate reevaluation of some classic Tetris games. Because, and I say this with love, people don't know what they're talking about when they talk about Tetris. They just, and it irks me to no end when people describe the games as, basically the same until Tetris Effect came around and invented fancy graphics or whatever. And don't get me wrong, Tetris Effect is fantastic. I've played over 280 hours of it on the Switch version alone. But I've played a lot of different versions of Tetris, and frankly, I find a lot of them to be very slightly different. They're always a little bit different. If you really dig into them, if you really put time into them, they're all a little different. And so this notion that it's just basically been the same game since like 1985 or whatever, no. They've changed, they've evolved. People have tried different things. And so we're going to scientifically, objectively, reevaluate them with a fresh pair of eyes, no nostalgia vision, and we're going to see how they go. And we're going to start with probably everyone's favorite for some reason. I'm going to, again, when we get into it, I'm going to withhold judgment. I'm going to be objective. But I will tell you now, I never liked the Game Boy version of Tetris. Never thought it was particularly great. But that doesn't matter. Because the point here is to scientifically prove whether or not it holds up. And so let's just go ahead and unpause the emulator and get this show started. Oh, I get that turned... I don't know how that is on your end. I got that turned way up in my earphones. Fantastic title screen, I will say. Again, aesthetically, this game, it does look great, it sounds great, it's got easily the best music of any Tetris game, I will admit that. Hey Joey, lurk away. And so we have A-type and B-type here, and then B music is also on the NES version. I guess that sounds a little more like columns. Not that it matters, because when you've got this one, what the hell else do you need? I believe... Crap, what's this song called? I know what it's called, but how do you pronounce it? Korobaniki, I believe, is the way you pronounce that. It's a traditional Russian tune, old folk song. And so, while I'm not super fond of this game, I will give it top marks for presentation. It looks great, it sounds great, it's got the best music, the best Tetris music. Okay, so we can start here. We're on A-type game. We can start from level 0 to 9. Let's hop right in. And right here, I want you to see my biggest problem with this game. I'm holding left and right, and look how slowly that piece is it's dropping at a reasonable rate. It's level 0. But the left and right movement is so incredibly slow. Now you can mitigate this by mashing the D-pad, and my old man hands do not forgive me for doing that anymore. So at some point in this game, we're just gonna It's just gonna fall apart and we just have to deal with it. And again, these being old Tetris games, pretty much all of them are going to have more or less full random piece distribution, which is also not great, but it is something you can learn to deal with a little practice. God, I'm already instinctively tapping the D-pad and I don't want to because it hurts my hands. But I can't help but feel like you have to. And so we just got a whole bunch of line pieces all at once, so we're probably not going to get very many later. This true randomness tends to be a bit clumpy. Oh, I stand corrected, we got 2 more. Yeah, well, I was sitting here playing while talking, definitely a little distracted, making a bit of a mess here. We gotta clean this up. And so one of the big challenges with any Tetris game that uses full random piece distribution is, I mean, as much of a fuss as people make about getting the line piece, the ones you gotta watch out for is if this thing gives you way too many Z and N pieces. Because those tend not to be, well, they can be useful, but in very specific circumstances. They're not as versatile as some of the other pieces, and if you get too many of them, then eventually you're gonna struggle to make lines. For a game that has, I mean, I don't know if it has any lock delay whatsoever, the ability to tuck pieces is theoretically possible. I'm not quite sure how the mechanics work on that. You know, at this time, lock delay was really more of a columns thing. Tetris got there eventually. The other thing, I might as well show it off when I get the chance here, is that if you... certain pieces, if you press them up against, like, the edges of the playfield, you can't rotate them. And that's something I'm not going to complain about too much. It's different from more current versions, but it was also very common at the time for that to be a limitation. So I guess the term we use in the community is they call them wall kicks. When the piece sort of pushes itself away from the wall and in order to rotate. That was not common. That was a rare feature at the time. You can totally do that in newer games, though. I think I'm repeating myself now. As much as my brain is wired for just back-to-back Tetrises, with these older games you have to kind of keep the stack down a bit. Again, especially this one, because I believe this... the playfield is like 10 by 18 instead of the standard 10 by 20. I guess you could theoretically argue that kind of the sluggish controls are, you know, maybe mitigated a little bit by that, or possibly made worse, depending on how you look at it. Hey, Chimega. So yard work is classist. You know how many people don't have yards? Again, just back to getting a whole bunch of... I suppose the official name for them is eye blocks. Everyone just calls them lines, or line pieces, or... I think the classic Tetris community says long bars. I think that's a silly name. And again, I'm tapping the D-pad, and I shouldn't be doing that because my hands hate it. But I just feel like I have to. Actually, Joey, the leaf got there because we didn't bother to do the raking. Again, starting to get nervous, starting to get nervous. Starting to get... Okay, here we go. You really don't have the space to make mistakes in this game. I'm already back to tapping. I don't like tapping. God, even the shmup community has eventually conceded that, you know, go ahead and use turbo controllers. Star Soldier isn't worth destroying your hands. Somehow the Tetris community has not yet caught up to that. Oh, there we go. Classic cascade of failure. You make one mistake in this game and that's it. There's no coming back from it. And then we watch this rocket very slowly go up. Okay. That was extremely exciting. Ah, there it is. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna briefly pop into B-type mode for a second here. And we'll just set this to like a nice rounded 7-2. There we go. And of course, the classic B mode. The game starts with some garbage lines on the screen, and you need to make 25 rows, presumably as fast as possible, but this doesn't really time you, it just tests you to see if you can. That was 5 square blocks in a row. As far as getting the same piece over and over again, the actual worst culprit is Dr. Mario. There have been some games where I'll just get double yellows like 10, 15 times in a row, and it's like, where the hell am I gonna put all these? And again, I'm right back to just instinctively tapping the D-pad. I don't want to tap the D-pad. But it really is just that much faster than holding it down and just watching them crawl back and forth across the screen. It's like they're moving in molasses. Oh, there we go. And I believe we get some kind of little animation for a reward. Okay. No, we don't. Okay, well, I'm gonna play one more game on A-type before I pass final judgment here. I wouldn't want to be accused of not doing my due diligence. Okay, so tucking is possible. You can tuck the blocks into those little spaces. It doesn't seem to be affected by... I'm not really sure how the game calculates that. Because otherwise it does seem like as soon as blocks make contact, they're just instantly locked into place. But that was mostly standard at the time. Not really going to judge things by, you know, stuff that became standard later. So the fact that this doesn't have wall kicks, the fact that it doesn't have super spins, it obviously also doesn't have hold Q, any of that stuff, like, none of that is going to weigh against it necessarily. I might have mentioned this before you came in. Wall kicks basically in some game, like in this game, if this piece is up against the wall, it won't spin until I push it away. Whereas like in more recent Tetris games, if you spin it while it's pressed up against the wall, it'll automatically push itself away. And they call those wall kicks. So like I said, I don't want to be deducting points off these older games for not having features that are, you know, more common in more recent versions. That's a little unfair. That's neither objective nor scientific. And this is going to be a very objective ranking. This concept that I've basically stolen wholesale from Jeff Gerstmann. Yes, I will admit that. I've been watching his ranking of the NES videos, and they're very entertaining, and I wanted to do the same thing, but with Tetris. I don't do a lot of holds either, honestly. But the reason I don't do them is because it ends up being like one more thing to think about in the heat of the moment, and I'm not good at multitasking. And oh, dear God, we're about to have another cascade of failure. Gotta... You know, stupid me for getting ambitious at speed level 5. Gotta start tapping that D-pad, there's no other way to keep this going. My thumbs are gonna hate me. You know, I consider myself a fairly skilled Tetris player. But I'm not necessarily like a high-intensity player. I like to kind of zone out while I'm playing. And so for me personally, like the hold cue, like holding pieces, I find it a little bit more difficult to really zone out when I have to sort of focus on two cues at the same time. And oftentimes I'll look at one, think I'm looking at the other, and then I'll start making mistakes. Whereas a younger me was too proud to hold. At current, I sort of take the attitude that it's a positive thing to have in the game that I just don't use because it kind of messes me up. Okay, so we're at about speed level 9 here, so probably at this point gonna have to sort of slow down on the Tetrises and try to keep the stack as low as we can. Because this game does not forgive mistakes at all. I remember, I think it was like either 1 or 2 days after NSO added Game Boy games to the library. I just had this like shooting pain in my arm, like it started like right down in my hand and went all the way up my wrist, like almost up to the elbow. I couldn't figure out what the hell was wrong, and then and again, it turns out it was just tapping that D-pad. Just too much mashing. So luckily I didn't develop like tendinitis or anything like that, but honestly I do think certain old versions of Tetris are like sort of a risk of tendinitis. You know. Tetris elbow. Exactly. Very similar to Star Soldier elbow, only in the other hand. Well, the tuck didn't work there. And tucks are probably going to get proportionally more difficult in line with the speed increase. But that's another thing I won't judge too harshly, because that's just how the game worked back then. Most versions were like that. I will point out that columns didn't have, well, okay, columns didn't have that problem because all the pieces were vertical. But it also did let you slide them around a little bit after they landed. At least on the Game Gear version, that's the one I played the most. Oop. Oop. See, now if I had tapped, that line piece would have landed where I wanted it to. Oh, walled at speed level 18 again. And okay, I don't want to sit through this animation again. Pause. All right. And so that's Game Boy Tetris. So let's come over here to our highly advanced ranking screen. And so, the only game on the list so far, where does it land? Well, number 1, as it turns out. Tetris. Game Boy. It's a rough game. It's one... I didn't have a Game Boy as a kid, so I don't have any nostalgia for it. And I just... To me, it just doesn't play that well. I've never really thought it was that great a version. Now, again, we're going to play the NES version next, so that's the version I do have nostalgia for. That one might turn out to be a bit of a rude awakening. But, again, and I will give Game Boy Tetris the highest possible marks for presentation. It looks great. It sounds great. It has the best music. But I just don't think it plays that well. And I do not understand the lasting affection for this particular version. I guess outside of nostalgia. Like, it just isn't that good. Picture frame keeps ending up in the shot. Just move that over a little bit. So, yeah, congratulations, Game Boy Tetris, currently number 1. And now we're going to do this. And we're going to switch over to the NES. Genesis Tetris is on here. That's not the one we're playing now, but we'll get to it. Let's just get this loaded up. Come on. There we go. And yeah, so this is the version that I played the most as a kid. I think the presentation, not as good, but still pretty good. We have A-Type and B-Type. We have 3 songs. We have the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. That's the same music from the Game Boy one. And then we got this one. I don't know what this is. It's sort of interesting. Got a little fun little time signature thing going on. But, of course, we all played the Sugar Plum Fairy by your homeboy Tchaikovsky. And, okay, that backs up. Okay, we gotta push start. Okay. And so let's start right away. Okay, see now look, again, vertical movement. A little better. Or no, that's that's horizontal movement. Why do I keep getting those mixed up? Left and right movement. A little bit smoother here, but not a whole lot. I like the look of it. How's the sound? Is that... Bring that down just a smidge. Oop. Pieces are still full random. That's still kind of giving us a hassle. Again, no wall kicks, but that's to be expected at this time. And so this is eventually going to run into the same problem where, in order to move pieces into place fast enough, you're going to have to start tapping. Though I will say, playing them side by side, slight improvement, but very slight. They made the curious decision to keep count of how many of each piece you get, which, depending on how the game goes, that can either act as proof that they're not biased against you, or if you're getting way too many of one piece, it can clear physical evidence that the distribution was lopsided. Yeah, clear evidence of hacks, exactly. But again, like any sort of true random, you expect it to be clumpy in the short term and to sort of gradually even out in the long term. As you can see, the sort of L and R blocks, we're getting not significantly, but noticeably more of those than any of the other ones. I think the blocks look kinda nice. It's sort of interesting the way they change colors like that every time you hit a new stage. Of course, in later games they would sort of standardize the colors, which you can kinda use to sort of tell what block you're getting at a slight glance. It's maybe a bit of an accessibility thing as well. Hard to say. There was a funny story. There was an interview with Again, the creator of the game, Alexei Pajitnov. I feel bad for butchering that. This man is a hero of mine. But he said in an interview, like, one thing that the decision to put the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy in the game was not his. That was something Nintendo chose. And he said he was actually kind of embarrassed about it. Because he went to see a production of the Nutcracker, and when this song started playing, all the kids in the audience were like, "Oh, the Tetris music!" he just kind of hit his head. Again, we're going to start being a little more cautious now because we're up to speed level 10. I know they recreated this game in Tetris Effect. I feel like I'm doing better on this version than I am on that one. That was supposed to be like an extremely faithful recreation because, you know, like they were trying to cater to the competitive scene. It kind of makes me wonder a little bit. I'll have to go back and play that one and sort of compare it, because I remember that game also giving me a slightly sore wrist. And my instincts are still to set up those Tetrises, even though we are well past the point where it's dangerous to do that. Oh, the big leagues, they start at speed level 19 and go up from there. Like I said, I'm pretty good at the game, but I'm not a high-intensity player. I didn't get good by practicing. I got good by playing the game for enjoyment over the course of many, many years. And I definitely need to stop setting up Tetrises now, because this is getting a little getting a little dangerous. But my instinct is still to just... Well, that's fine. We hit speed level 17. Oh, yeah. So if you get a high enough score, then instead of the rocket ship taking off, is that a castle or a church? I can't remember. I know it's a real place. It's an actual structure in... And then the enter your name music is way lamer. There we go, Baba is me. And I'm just gonna play one game of B-type, and we're gonna set this to the same settings, 7.2. So I was playing this mode pretty recently, and I was trying to do 9.5 and just couldn't. Well, I think I could do 9.4. The Kremlin? I mean, it could be. I don't know. I really don't know my, I don't know my Russian geography or architecture all that well. That's certainly a familiar word. We are going to be seeing it a lot in these games. Because again, Pajitnov, and his partner in crime there, Hank Rogers, like, they were very explicit in that they wanted these games to like reference Russia. They wanted it to be explicitly a game from Russia, but they didn't want references to the Cold War. And so that's why a lot of these sort of peculiar decisions got made. You know, so the decision to include Korobeniki, as well as, you know, the music of Tchaikovsky. And there we go. 2 big old dragons fly by. 3 big old dragons fly by. And so different things fly by based on what stage you choose. There, my name is Morse code. So we'll just, still got a little bit of time here. Let's go 9.3. And if I can do 9.3, I'll try 9.4. You know, this music is actually kind of pleasant. I don't think it's that fun to listen to, but when you hear it in-game, it kind of fits. It's no Korobeniki, though. That is the best Tetris music. Hands down. Ah, yes, okay, that sounds... As soon as you said the name, I'm like, yeah, that sounds right. Oops. Well, I can't blame the difficulty for that one. That was clearly human error. Seven lines left to go. And there it is. And so when you do speed level 9, you get this. Where you see Pit playing the violin, Donkey Kong playing a drum, there's Samus playing a cello, or possibly an upright bass, there's Link playing a flute. And then, again, if you beat it on 9.4, you get someone else. Eventually, yeah, no, Princess Peach shows up, and then Mario and Luigi show up to do a little dance on 9-5. But, like I said, in my test runs, I couldn't do 9-5. Oh, and I'm tapping, I'm tapping. Yeah, once you get there, like, there's a certain amount of luck, and my dad could do it somewhat consistently when we were kids. I think there was probably a time when I could have done it, but, yeah, those days have passed. And so, with that, we now have to decide, is it better or worse than Game Boy Tetris? Like I said, the presentation, I don't think is as good in some ways. The controls are honestly, they're actually not as bad as I was expecting. I was expecting them to be roughly equivalent with the Game Boy game, and that doesn't seem to be the case. And that makes me a little suspicious about this ROM, but we'll put that aside for now. Overall, is that I'm putting a tremendous amount of weight on play control and basic feel, and so I believe Game Boy Tetris, if this were purely about presentation, Game Boy Tetris would easily win. Not even an issue. But I'm gonna go ahead and, when you factor in the controls, I'm a big fan of smooth controls, and this is just that little bit smoother. So congratulations to Tetris NES. You're currently #1, and I get the feeling you're not going to stay there either. But there is one more to do for now. One more Tetris game that I want to get to. So I'll just get this loaded up. This is gonna... Oh, this one doesn't have the legal screen. This was surprisingly hard to find online. The Tengen version of Tetris. This is, of course, the unlicensed Tetris game that Atari presumed they were entitled to make until Nintendo got them shut down. And this was a holy grail. Yeah, see, licensed by Mirrorsoft. So they didn't... They licensed this game from a licensee of the game. Mirrorsoft, I believe, had the DOS, rights to the DOS version. Hey, stay down here. And I will say this right now. The arcade version of this game is terrible. Is absolutely terrible. But weirdly enough, this one, not half bad. And so, again, we're going to come in here. Handicap, I don't know what that means. Music select. Let's just go with this, I guess. And so again, controls, pretty good. Pretty good. This does have limited wall kicks. The long piece didn't work, but it does on these little L blocks. Again, when I was playing this, I was pleasantly surprised by the controls, but now that I went back and played the Nintendo version, I'm a little less impressed, but they're still good. This is still like a solid playable version of the game. It's real ugly though. Like, I don't like the way this looks at all. And the music, also really not doing it for me. But there's one other big issue that's going to become apparent. Not right away, it's gonna take a moment. And so the arcade version, which uses like entirely the same kind of graphic design as this one, that one, I guess in order to keep people from hogging the machine for too long, they sort of break it up into like little bite-sized challenges, as a lot of Atari games were wont to do at that time. It makes it similar, I guess, sort of the same what they did with Clax. And so, I mean, it was the 90s, there was time for Clax, but, you know, to go back to it now, it's a bit of a disappointment. Oh, and here we go. We've cleared a stage. And out come the little dancers. And so this is kinda cute. You get bonus points every time you clear a stage. You don't have to sit through this. You can speed through it if you want. Just hit the button and they go away. But if you notice up at the top of the screen where it's showing my score in that, I had to clear 30 lines to go up one level. 30 lines! That is a... So I do not know, like, where that decision came from. But for a game that, you know, controls decently well and, you know, kind of speeds up. Yeah, exactly. Level 2, 69, 60 lines. Level 2, 60 nice, I guess, if you will. It's already a pretty easy version of the game, and having the difficulty ramp up so slowly just makes it even easier. But now, of course, all of that is kind of putting aside the obvious. This was like a holy grail when I was a kid. I wanted this version of the game so badly. And of course, because of the licensing reasons, the game had to be pulled from store shelves. I never got it when I was a kid. I wanted it so bad. Because, as you can see, even from this screen, this one has 2-player mode. Nintendo's official Tetris did not have 2-player mode. And even the Game Boy version... Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Like, even the Game Boy version had a sort of limited 2-player mode if you had the link cable. But, like, the official Nintendo version, the one everybody had, no 2-player mode. Why not? And there have been conspiracy theories about that you know, people believe that the reason Nintendo went so hard on this version of the game was specifically because it made theirs look inferior. I'm pretty sure it was more just, you know, disputes over licensing. But yeah, God, so... I think when I was a kid, you know, like, the difficulty would not have bothered me as much because I didn't have as, you know, didn't have as many years of practice with the game as I do now. Yeah, exactly. Nintendo wanted to tie up the rights to make sure... They couldn't completely tie up the rights because the arcade rights were separate. The PC rights were separate. Nintendo could not stop them making a DOS version. I believe... like, Nintendo couldn't stop Sega from making an arcade version, which is why they prototyped Genesis Tetris to begin with. And I believe, yeah, and like Sega's version was just, like, apparently, so I'm told, or at least so I've read, was just this ubiquitous fixture in Japanese arcades for, like, years and years and years. Yeah, exactly, and Sega would reprogram the games in-house. And so, you know, probably not today, but one of these, like, we will eventually get to Sega's Genesis Tetris, which is based on Sega's arcade Tetris. I haven't played a lot of the arcade version. I know the Genesis version, I believe, is either incomplete or was just a prototype, or I don't know what the story is. Because again, that one never made it to market at all. The ROM is just kind of out there. I'm also not entirely clear on how the scoring system works. I keep seeing those little numbers pop up along the side of the playfield, and I have no idea what they mean. Oh, we only got 4 dancing guys this time. Not sure, I think it is based on performance, but I don't know how or why. Much like the scoring system, I'm pretty sure you just need to have the manual in order to get that information. But again, yeah, we're now up to 140 lines, and we're only on speed level 4. Like, you know, by this point in the Game Boy version, the game had already accelerated to the point where I couldn't keep up with it, and we're kind of around the same time with the other version. This one, I'm starting... Later, Joey. If I don't see you later, then we'll see you on Monday, hopefully, if you get to stream. Okay. The two ladies at the top are back. And honestly, like, again, we're now up to 150 lines, and I'm getting bored. This just keeps going, which is normally a good thing, but like, yeah, I need you to ramp up a little bit, guys. Come on. So anyway, I'm gonna hop down over here to Versus Computer before I make a judgment. Level select, I'm gonna put this all the way up to 9. I still don't know what that does. Wait, hold on. And I'm gonna go with this last one here. And there's just no flourish to the music at all. Yeah, I think you... I can't tell if you get combo bonus or not. I know that's another rare feature that is, you know, far more common in modern Tetris compared to classic Tetris. I'm also noticing that there's no... You're not really affecting what's going on the other screen, so I don't know how this is a versus. I assume we're just competing for points. In which case, there is no way I'm gonna lose. At least not against this AI, man. Dude, pick it up. I guess the music does sound appropriately Russian. Oops. That's not the game, that was human error. So was that. Okay, at least I don't have to wait when he levels up. Okay, Tuck's possible even at high speeds. That's pretty good. Why is he getting bonus points when I level up? I mean, it doesn't matter. I have 5 times his score, but it doesn't make sense. Okay, and get up to speed level 12. This at least gets a little challenging. I will admit, I haven't yet felt the instinctive urge to start tapping the D-pad, so that's good. Oops. Oh, right. Oh, hey. Ah, there she goes. Okay. Now am I supposed to wait? Oh, I can just start again? So this isn't really a versus mode. This is just 2 people playing Tetris at the same time. Oh well, I'm gonna declare myself the winner. Okay, so now that's a little messy. Where do we put that one? So I want to start with the pros. This does have, for its time, let me take out the headphone. For its time, this does have some features that are not common. The controls are... Okay, here's the thing. If you asked me yesterday, when I was just testing the ROMs, I would have said the controls are like miles above the other two Tetris versions, though I'm feeling a little differently about that. I think NES Tetris, or Nintendo's NES Tetris, actually does control better than I remember it, or at least better than previous experiences would suggest. But it does have a lot of features. It has a two-player mode, which was huge at the time. It has... I guess really that's the main one. This game is not... I was expecting this game to rank higher. It can be challenging. I will give it that. If you volunteer to crank up the speed right from the start, it does get challenging a little sooner. It's... Overall, really the big thing is two-player mode. It has two-player mode, and original NES Tetris does not have two-player mode, and really, really should have. I don't know why it doesn't. But is two-player mode enough to put it above these two games that are just miles ahead in terms of presentation and, you know, otherwise, like, just... I'm gonna say no. I'm saying no. So, Tengen Tetris, currently at the bottom of the list, which right now still puts it in the top 3. Congratulations. But I had much higher expectations. I thought this was going to be more of a contest. But like you said, Kai Mega, tedious. I think that's really what killed it, is just taking too long to start getting difficult. It's just tedious. It's tedious to play. And so with that out of the way... Well, I mean, when we were kids, like, even the two-player mode, yeah, it's not even a great two-player mode, but, like, when we were kids, you know, like, to sit there and watch someone play Tetris and wait for your turn, like, the ability to just pick up the Player 2 controller and go would have been very welcome. But yeah, it's just, it checks all the boxes, and that's it. Bare minimum achieved. So you get a bare minimum placing. And that's all the Tetris we're going to do for today. There is another game that I would like to... I'm going to say, again, I have a lot of Tetris ROMs on here. We're going to come back to this from time to time, if not weekly, probably not weekly, but from time to time we're going to come back to this. We're going to rank some more Tetris games, but for now... There's, well, I mean, if you looked at the Sexy Gumby, yes, Tetris with Sexy Gumby, instant winner. But, this is another game from my, I was going to say childhood, but I think more teenage years. As soon as it loads, come on. There you go. From our good pals at Koei, pre-merger with Tecmo, I'm gonna have to... A Ko Shibushawa production, that's real important that you know that, from the Executive series. This is Aerobiz. And I'm just waiting for the music to kick in. Here's a whole bunch of legal information because airplanes. Yeah. Yep. Again, I just want to get the levels set here. And I believe this mode 7 part... Oh, no, wait, I can skip that. And so we can start a new game. Oop. And then the music just immediately ramps up in volume after I set the level. So we'll do 1983 to 2015 in this game that came out in the mid-90s and definitely does not predict what happens. And so player 1 is going to be man, and the other 3 are going to be comms. Yes, this is an SNES game. There's a Genesis version as well. And okay, so I get to choose where I want to start. This is for... I didn't specify. I'm turning that down in my that is just blasting in my ear. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's... This is a game I rented on a whim, and even when I rented it, I thought this is going to be stupid, we'll have a laugh. And I wound up enjoying it so much I didn't want to return it. And basically I went back to the video store. It was just a little corner store down the street, and I asked them, I said, how much to buy it? Can I just buy your store copy of this game? And the lady there called the manager, and she said, yeah, 20 bucks and it's yours. Because it turns out this game was not flying off the shelves. But anyway, if the name didn't give it away, this is an airline management simulator. And so... so we're going to point this LAX. No, we're going to start in YVR here. This is unfortunate. The good news is we do have a choice of a Canadian airport. The bad news is it's on the West Coast. But whatever. And I don't want to call it Can Air. We're going to call it... Oh, look at that. Just enough room. Well, come fly Splorch Airlines. Is this name okay? Yes. Select level, beginner, go easy. Because I haven't played this in years, and I also didn't test play it in advance. Okay, game start. So Air Brit is taking their turn, which takes time for some reason. President, congratulations, you're the new CEO. These are our long-term goals. Okay, when I was a kid, I was real stupid. If we're in the red for just 1 year, we're in big trouble. Because I looked at those goals, particularly the linked 22 cities. And, like, I just took that as, that's the objective. Okay, so, let's remember. So these are all our different commands. So this, basically the same interface as the console versions of Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Let's see this. Roots. Choose, we're not going to do roots just yet. We're gonna send, we got these 3 agents, we're gonna send them out to negotiate some slots. And New York is gonna be a big one. Shall we negotiate in New York? Yes. How many slots should we request? As many as we can get. Negotiations may take up to 6 months. Is this okay? Yes. Okay. And now we're also going to want to negotiate with... Oh, use the D-pad to speed up. That's weird. Anyway. Oh, wait, there is a price attached to that. Doesn't matter. These are important. So we negotiate with LA? Yes. How many slots? Again, as many as we can get. That's going to take even longer. We will enter negotiations at once. And I'm going to have my last guy... Well, we got 10 slots with Mexico right now. I really wish we started with more slots in New York, because that's a good first flight. I would probably start negotiating over in sort of in East Asia over here. And get different music depending on how many slots. Give me a whole bunch. Okay. This is buy planes, I believe. This is set your budget. This is advertising. This is to hold a board meeting. They'll tell you what they think you should do. For right now, I'm trying to remember all the controls. Okay, select lets you see what the other players are doing. Remember that. L and R lets you scroll the map around. Oh, okay, yeah, so the Y button you can look, and this will give you stats. So there's your population, economy, tourism, this balance, and so that lets you basically know the demand. So for right now, choose which. We're gonna open a route, and it's gonna go from Vancouver to New York City. Open a new route? Yes. What type of plane will you use? Okay, so we got a 737, a DC-10, and that's it. Okay, what's the distance? 2,500 miles. Okay, so we need a plane that can fly that far. But also we don't want, like, these planes can go extremely long distance. We don't necessarily want to use those up. This one is good for shorter distances, but it doesn't carry as many passengers. We only have 1 slot, so that's not a problem. We'll take 1. How many planes? 1 plane. How many flights a week will there be? We only have 1 slot, so we can only do 1 flight for now. What fare will you set? Okay, so this is critical. So we need to, again, your profit margin, we can set it as low as, we can even set them at a loss, but that's not a good idea. So if we set, like, say, for now, at a 5% margin. Yeah, you can set the price up to... These are actually pretty good prices for airfare these days, but again, we're going to start off at a pretty slim margin. Do you want to open a route from Vancouver to New York? Yes. And so that's it for now. We'll change that later. When it comes time, when we get more slots, because obviously, like, Vancouver to New York, that's going to be a pretty popular flight, and also it's going to become a connecting, well, do they do connecting flights in this game? I suppose they have to, because once we're able to fly from Vancouver to Los Angeles, and then instead of oh, do we want to do it? Yeah, I'm thinking too far ahead now. But yeah, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to open a branch. Which city? In New York. It will take 3 months to set up this branch office. There. So now, by having a branch in New York, when that gets set up, we'll be able to have direct flights from New York. Right now, we can only do direct flights specifically from Vancouver to wherever else. So we could also do a flight from Vancouver to Honolulu. I don't know if that's such a... Also, I'm not sure why this map puts Honolulu like dead center in the Pacific. I have to... Maybe I'm imagining that. Maybe that is actually how far out it is, but... There's this... I didn't really play this all that strategically as a kid, or as a teenager. It was more just a race to try and connect every city in the world as fast as I could. So we're going to look at our budget here. And so your budget, you have maintenance, advertising, and service. And so if we take our service budget... stop, reduce, maintain, raise, max. Okay, never mind. Just go raise, I guess. Leave that where it is. And... this is biplanes, I think? Yeah, which manufacturer will you visit? So there's Boeing, Globus, McDonnell Douglas, Airbus, and then Markov, but we can't buy from Markov because the Cold War is still going on, and so we're not allowed to buy Soviet planes. This is that kind of game, by the way. Absolutely that kind of game. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that's our first turn. Oh, my throat's really dry right now. Okay, so we didn't get a lot of passengers because we only have the one slot. Very little... Okay, got the lowest sales, but we didn't get the highest expenditure, so that's probably nice. We might need to turn bring down the... Okay, City 2, Route 1. Our previous quarter's management results are shown above. Hey Levy, yeah, this is an old school management sim for the Super Nintendo. We must make more of an effort. Vancouver will host the Olympic Games next year. A branch office was set up in New York. We should open new routes from here at once. That sounds great, but we can't. At least not yet. Yeah, it's like a mix of Airline Tycoon and Romance of the Three Kingdoms. which is a combination you wouldn't expect. But again, I guess... offer direct flights from Vancouver to Mexico? I mean, at our current situation... Romance of the Three Airlines, yes. Because if you look down, there's a spot on the screen where you see 3 numbers. There's like a little coin, a little star, and a little man. And then next to them there's little arrows that are all pointing up. So everything's profitable right now. It's just significantly less profitable than the other 3 competitors. But there's not a whole lot we can do at the moment. Shit. I'm still overthinking. Where will the route originate? So, destination city, we're gonna go Honolulu. What type of plane will you use? Again, we're gonna go with the 737 again, just as a kind of sort of low distance. Just the one plane. How many flights? So we can do 3 flights because that's how many slots we have. Okay, for the fare, again, I feel like a 5% margin. At least for now, where we're not spending as much money this quarter, I'm hoping that'll be okay. Do you want to open a route from Vancouver to Honolulu? Yes. So, yes, there's not a lot else we can do right now. Well, we can try and advertise and marketing. What kind of promotion? Let's try promoting our direct flight to Hawaii. We can do one more. Sure. We'll do both. And so let's have a board meeting. Let's see what happens. Open. How about opening a route from New York to Honolulu? No! Open a route from Vancouver to Los Angeles. I'm gonna get on that as soon as I can. Planes. The number of planes seems sufficient. Okay, that's good. Budget. Our service has been very successful. How about raising our maintenance budget a little? Alright. Which direction to give? Raise. I don't know, they're already saying raise. Well, until we start getting more negotiations going, I think that's all we can do right now. Oh, we are in the hole this quarter. I hate to do it, but I'm gonna have to start raising the fares. I wonder if this is where my love of bossa nova originated. Our route connects 3 cities. Our previous quarter's management's results are shown above. Sales are increasing. Route promotion was unsuccessful. Secured the right to 14 slots in New York. Okay, that's good. So first things first, I'd like you to get a few more routes in Honolulu. We're going to spend quite a bit on that, but that's fine. And we're also going to open a branch in Honolulu because this is how we're going to make connecting flights over to across the Pacific. And we're going to open a hotel in Vancouver, which will hopefully be ready in time for the Olympics. Okay, and the only other thing we're going to do now is I'm going to choose route to change. This one. Flights. We can now have 4 flights. And the fare, I hate to do it, but we're dying out there. We're gonna bring the fare up to 10%. So that's about a $40 increase. Same this one, the number of flights is good. Again, and this one I'm not going to increase the fare quite as much, because this one's already a little more expensive. And that'll be that, and I'm not going to spend any more money on promotion just yet. And we're going to see how this goes. Oh, we're definitely keeping our expenses down, but... oh, we're still in the hole. In fact, I think we're more in the hole now. I think I might have to slow down on the negotiations at some point. Just entered negotiations with Rome. And as results are shown, you must make more of an effort. You should open up new routes from here at once. There we go. Okay. So, we got some slots in Tokyo. Now, I want some slots in Beijing to go with it. And I want you to start entering negotiations with either more in Vancouver, more in Los Angeles. Yeah, let's, no, I think we're okay in Los Angeles. Let's hold off for now. But we can now, okay, so first things first, we're going to... no, wait, you know what I'm going to do first? I keep saying I'm going to stop spending money, and I keep spending more money. Business ain't nothing but deep holes. And so, what I want to look for are short distance planes. And again, oh, are these just the planes I have, or? I don't remember how this works. Let's go with McDonnell Douglas. Let's see what they got. DC-9 and DC-10. Can I look at it first? Needs fuel rank, range. Yeah, that's... I'm looking for short distance planes. We'll try Boeing, see what they got. We have 737s. Okay. What kind of... Oh, they buy planes. Okay, that's why I've never heard of Globus. What about Airbus? Okay, Airbus is where you get your Concords. That's your super fancy planes. Let's see. I think I already have the shortest distance planes available. So, we're going to open 2 new routes. From Vancouver to Los Angeles. And again, we're going to use a short distance plane to do it. How many flights? 6? No, I'm only going to go... Yeah, 5 flights. I don't want to use up all my slots just yet. Fare will you set? And there we go. Now, we're also going to run a flight from New York to Los Angeles. We cannot afford it. Okay, we're going to wait on that one then. And here comes our annual report. And our quarterly report, where we are now officially the only airline in the game losing money. Previous year's management results are shown above. Our previous year was not good. Okay. Unfortunately, we're still not in a good spot to be... I'm gonna look at the other. Yeah, we have a profit-sharing company. I want to look at what these guys are setting for fares. Okay, that guy's losing money on the... Can I see... Wait, no, if I go like this, and then I... Okay, they're not letting me see what they're setting for price on their... So the question is, do we make a big play or not? Or do I start raising the fares again? I'm just gonna... Because we do need to cut expenses. That's the big thing right now. Our expenses are way higher than what we're making. Ugh. I'm bad at business in real life, if you didn't figure. basically my hope right now is that if we start if we stop spending so much, maybe we'll stabilize a little. Oh. Iran and Iraq are now at war. The two countries are targeting each other's oil plants. So again, sales are up. Sales are absolutely up this quarter. Expenses are not going down. At least we're not the only airline that lost money this quarter. Yeah, some Tetris games got real granular. But no, what we're playing right now it's called Aerobiz. Okay, so we gotta start making budget cuts. I hate doing it, but we gotta. Okay, all of those were set to raise instead of maintain, which I should have realized earlier. And I'm going to try and promote our hotel in Vancouver here. We're just continuing to hemorrhage money. And so let's see how that goes. The exchange of attacks in the Middle East have worsened. Oh. The Summer Olympics Games are set to open in Vancouver. Many visitors from around the world are expected to attend. Since pretty much all of our flights connect to Vancouver right now, that's good for us. Okay, sales and expenses leveled off. That's good. Sales are increasing. Hotel promotion was unsuccessful. Really? With the summer games and everything? Okay. Well, we gotta start making a move, I guess. So, New York, let's see if we can do it now. New York to LA. We cannot afford it. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna have to do at this point. Maybe not for the Olympics specifically, but the plan was to make a connecting flight from Honolulu to East Asia. Should we go at that or just direct from? Let's see if it'll let us. Let's see what it'll let us do here. We cannot afford it. Yeah. I hate to say it, but I think we're gonna have to start raising fares again. And unfortunately, that's going to be all the time we have for this particular stream. Fast message speed, that's good. Didn't realize. So we are going to save. And we're just going to have to call it here. So thank you guys for coming by. Thank you, Joey and Levy and Chimega. And hopefully y'all will be available for Scoop Joey's stream tomorrow, and I'll be back on Tuesday with some more Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, and then we'll go through the whole weekly routine again, and we'll get back to this at some point. We'll get back to ranking the Tetris games as well. There's plenty more to go. And so I'm gonna go eat now. So thanks again, and see you all around.